First of all, I'd like to apologize for the terrible video quality here. I guess I didn't set up the new settings properly, but it's going to be tough to watch regardless. But I'm just going to do it anyways because I've been wanting to say something on this for a little bit. This video is going to be different from the other ones, as you know. Like some of the other videos are just random shit. It's actually going to be the same because it's more random shit. This video is going to be half scripted. I wrote something and I'm going to be reading from it and then maybe commenting on things as I go along. And then, to be honest, I'm trying to just do different experiments, throw stuff against the wall, see what sticks. But I did definitely want some thoughts out. I wanted to talk about good MMO design and what makes a good MMO. This topic has been on my mind because recently I've been playing an absolute fucking classic of WoW Classic recently, which makes me want to try other MMOs like EverQuest or Ragnarok Online. Just go back, really. City of Heroes, Star Wars Galaxies, go back to some of the private servers, Final Fantasy XI, a lot of the other things I've played. Even going as like back to like Mabinogi maybe, or like MapleStory or something. And I've got to confess, I've always said WoW is a bad game. Starting at the beginning of Wrath of the Lich King and some Cataclysm, I never actually enjoyed the game. I never hit max level. I only even played the game because friends I had at the time on Ventrilo. By the way, everybody raise your hand if you use Ventrilo. Beck. Oh, look, a room full of 30-year-old people. Or 40. Actually, never enjoyed the game enough to play it on my own. Years later, WoW Classic comes out, and as you might expect, I thought it was still a shit show, and Blizzard was just shilling whatever they could for money. Cashing in on that good old sweet yum nostalgia money that companies are so desperate to get these days. So I skipped it. Never really had a reason to play. I was playing good games like League of Legends and Valorant. Sorry, I could not. Sour taste in my mouth. Anyway, a friend of mine got me hyped over the D4 release, and this is where I first found out about hardcore modes in any game. Like the Iron Man. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Wait, that's not how it goes. I meant if you die in the game, you lose that character and everything you have on that character permanently. Yep. That's fucking stupid. Nobody would ever play that mode, but I'll try it once and see how it goes. Mind you, this is right after I played the beta of Dark and Darker, which is kind of like a hardcore mode light. You wouldn't lose all your progression, but you would lose the gear you're wearing, and if you end up not returning from the dungeon, you'd end up losing your gear if you end up not returning for that dungeon. Sorry, I wrote this, and it might not be coherent at all. Returning from the dungeon. I had a lot of fun with early Dark and Darker. Personally, I was having the most fun when they didn't have as many like Weenie Hut Jr. features to the game. But that's neither here nor there. I was essentially primed for playing some sort of hardcore mode, so I tried Hardcore Diablo 4 in the beta. I tried Hardcore Diablo 4 in full release. I could not stop playing hardcore mode. I played hardcore in Last Epoch. I played hardcore in Path of Exile after that. I absolutely loved it. There's a rush from near-death experiences and also a weird sense of community around the hardcore experience that I feel doesn't exist in more modern MMORPGs. Unless you're playing Final Fantasy XIV, because that community is crazy. Also, if you're a furry, like you just connect with other furries and start, barking and yiffing and stuff. Sorry if that's racist. But I also got curious. Is WoW... Oh, sorry. Yes. Anyway, 2 max characters later, I got tired of D4 and stopped playing. Same friend around the same time told me about a WoW Classic hardcore. At the time, I thought it was really fucking dumb. Like, who would level up from 1 to 60 on one life? is it really a thing? I thought it was really dumb, but I also thought, maybe I should try this. Like, is this really a thing? And it was at this point where I did decide to try. Oh no, it was at this point I ended up still not playing the game because it was going to have to be a private server, and Lord knows I didn't give a fuck about setting any of that shit up. So, I lied and waited in the shadows of the mind, creeping, crawling, scratching against the surface until WoW Classic Hardcore release. The barrier was low enough, and I was desperate enough to play anything after completing the Cyberpunk DLC that destroyed me. Shoutouts to Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. I still think about Song to this day. I played WoW Hardcore. I kept playing WoW Hardcore, and I'm still playing WoW Hardcore. Is this what the game was? This game is fucking amazing. It's so well designed, everything fits together and placed properly. The zones are all filled with both character and lore, and the characters themselves all have unique personalities. What the fuck game did I play in Cataclysm? Maybe it was some kind of modern design philosophy, maybe it was just timing. I know for sure one thing, though. I am now an avid fan of hardcore games. That sense of community was back, and more than ever, people are helping each other out, giving tips and spreading 6 slot bags whenever they can at the auction house. And the auction house had everything reasonably priced. Oh, that death deflation, man. That'll really down rocket your prices. I suppose bots could play hardcore too. But, they might end up losing everything. So there was like a weird equilibrium that forms inside of the economy of hardcore games when you're able to die and lose everything. But, I'm not going to lie, guys. WoW Classic is magical, and it still holds up because in every pixel, every tick of the processor, some developer put their blood, it says food on my, I auto-corrected to food, their blood, sweat, and tears, and it shows. Anyway, we're talking about what makes a good MMO here, and not just hardcore in general. But I've always thought it was 2 things, and then one secret thing after those 2. 2 rules that cannot be broken if you want a successful MMORPG. And I'm pretty sure all the MMOs that I've played have these 2 things that are also great MMORPGs. 1, every single function of the game has to exist to bring people together. And 2, your game must have as much user customization as humanly feasible. Of course, 1, I'll explain that, but 2, real quick, 2, if you look at the most played games of all time, Minecraft, Fortnite, even Grand Theft Auto Online, Skyrim, all of these have huge user customability inside of them. If you're not making like user things, man, you're essentially making a death wish for the longevity of your game. You want people to be able to add their own touch to something and invest as much creativity as they can into your game. If you give them the tools, they will build it. But yes, 1, every single function of the game has to exist to bring people together. In World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, if you are an experienced veteran of the game with 5,000 IQ, a cone head, a greasy ponytail, you probably don't need anyone else while you world record your 1-60 mage AoE farm with every best in slot item at every level with 0 add-ons. This is not for you. Obviously, you're a power mega gamer and don't need anybody else. Most players actually aren't that. Most players don't have the time, the will, or the energy to invest in all those things. So you kind of want to just show up and do the things that your class is supposed to do. I show up and I stab stuff. I show up and take some damage and gather threat. I show up and as a healer and take a smoke break every 5 minutes because there's nothing you can do about it. And yes, I would do that every time I'm a healer, and I don't even smoke. I would just say smoke break in chat and just watch the screen. I would just watch. Yes, they're waiting on me. Me and my healer's ego. Some people have described healers as a power bottom, and some people describe tanks as a service top. I like to tank and heal. I'm a power service top bottom. Sorry. I seldom pick DPS classes. This is true. I do like support. Anyways, I'm a different person now. I don't do that anymore. Now I say WC or BioBreak. But there's something about classes that bring these different roles together in a big way. There's some content you can't do with each basal role. You need the tank, you need the damage, you need the healer. The content in WoW Classy... Classy WoW. Oh, the content in WoW Classic is also less handholdy. And because it's less handholdy, while you stand to lose everything you have, it becomes normal to group up for things. And maybe, was that even... Yes, I'm watching a video of me do this. Wait, hold on. Okay, I did unmute. I was going to be so upset, dude. I was going to be actually fucking blasted. Hooray! Yes, I'm watching a video. I don't know how to do this, guy. I don't know how to do this. I tried getting Audacity earlier. I don't know how to do it on Ubuntu. I just wanted to make this video. But yes, the content in WoW Classic is less handholdy. And because it's less handholdy, while you stand to lose everything, it becomes normal to group up for things. Because you can't just go again every time you die. You don't want to die. Well, you can. You can group up. It would take hours to reach where you got before, so maybe you want to go in with the best chances you can muster. Professions are also a really good example of this, of bringing people together through, the disparate ways the roles are all intertwined. In order to make progress in your own progression, at some point, you would have to interact and trade with other players in order for you to get what you want. Some leatherworking requires potions to make. Some enchanting requires some gems from mining. This makes people have to come together to be able to progress inside of the game. I think that's just genius design. But simple, which is the mark is something that is exceedingly well made. Smart, but simple. I also don't need to mention that a lot of the endgame content features raids and other players. Yeah, you get the picture. Grouping, good. Solo, possible, but not as good. Especially if you're a newer player. I think the chat system is also something you don't really see in modern games either these days. Many of the modern games mute all of the players. Half the time it feels like you're playing against bots. Which you probably are, especially in Hearthstone or even League of Legends nowadays, probably Valorant. They're just bots. And I think if they're not bots, they have been made bots by whatever penalty system forces people not to talk and interact with each other. Which, I wouldn't put it past some companies. Fortnite literally puts bots in their games. Warzone literally puts bots inside of skill-based matchmaking experiences. As games move away from the social experience, I think they move away from what made these games special in the first place. It wasn't a replica of the world, but it was a world of your own, where you could meet any type of person. Toxic, generous, catfish, mentor, backstabber. It was incredibly open. These crazy, ego-filled raid leaders that give you something to talk about. It's everything. You can meet anybody in here. It's incredibly open, and even though the less well-behaved players would likely receive administrative action, I do think it's still important to give people the freedom to do what they want, as long as they're aware and of the consequences and, suffer them swiftly and accordingly due to whatever actions they may take. So there's two philosophies here. I guess it's one, prevent everything you can, put a safety guard, or two, give people the chance to explore the world, explore themselves, explore their relationships with others. And if anything ever goes too far, you then punish what was gone too far. So it's kind of like taxes, you know, whenever you make over a certain amount in a specific bracket, you only pay for that bracket. That's how these things should be dealt with. If you just limit people, you're just going to end up, you know, kind of amputating different parts of the person that, you know, is just primed to be able to help you to function. You know, if you kill all of the ambition out of somebody, you're going to not create anything for the rest of society. Anyways, let's not get too existential. Leveling is a lonely thing, and seeing some all chats or guild chats really keeps you going to that next level. And you celebrate the wins of your allies and mourn the losses, especially in hardcore where BOEs are POG in all caps and character deaths are noticed by all. You really feel heard when MMOs give you the ability to speak. You feel seen when MMOs don't censor every little thing that may upset the most sheltered little cloistered pious little bungle bottle. I wrote that. There are also world events, such as the world buffs and early things such as the Darkmoon Fair, that run and put a lot of players in the same location. People are out asking each other where and when buffs are, and people are trying to figure out whether the prizes for the fair are worth going for from other players. In the same vein as bringing players together in the same location, cities and inns will grant bonus XP based on the time you spend in them, and it works when you're logged out as well, incentivizing players to congregate in these areas. I mean, it's clean design, man. Other tertiary features, such as the auction house and mail system, further exaggerate this point of every single function of the game must bring players together. Second point, the game must be user customizable as humanly feasible. Now, maybe you shouldn't be able to take a snapshot of every anime character you've ever had and splay it over and complete the average of that and wrap it over your character's face and then give them the exact abilities they want. You could just program your own abilities in the game, which, you know, you would probably just get Second Life over again. But, you know, in the context of the game, you should be able to customize meta things about the game, such as maybe skins, Fortnite, Skyrim, Jedi Academy, or, in World of Warcraft, you have macros. You could create macro. This is crazy. If you have any sort of scripting or programming experience or copy pasting experience where you can grab some of the best stuff you find online, you can create combinations of skills that help you play the game both better and or easier. That's insane. That's insane when you find that out. I don't think a lot of games have something like that. I think this is this may be something that was inspired. Obviously, World of Warcraft was inspired from EverQuest, but EverQuest had such a high degree of user customizability that I think it really tied players to the game, where it's like, yes, this is my version of this ability. This is my version of what everybody is doing, which, you know, in a class-based system, it's hard to find like some sort of differentiation between classes, but you can really customize something to make it your own once you add that like kind of meta ability to customize things. Obviously, you can see I've made my own character and she's very cute. I randomly generated her name. And she's like a cool little warlock with a cool little warlock minion there. Yes, and then of course, like going back even back further in the day, like I remember the two of the games I played a lot when I was younger were Jedi Academy and like Unreal Tournament. In Unreal Tournament, I was like trying to make skins, and so I had no idea what was going on. I think I kept trying to edit a character named Romulus or something, and he had like some weird green outfit, and I wanted to make it blue, and I never did it correctly. But just the chance to do that, the chance to create something that is wholly your own inside of a game that is wholly somebody else's is just it gives you the sandbox to play in that adds to the magic of the game. And third, I'll say this is a recent addition to my list. The list of two things. There's now a third thing. The list has increased its size by 50% after this. And judging from how I started talking about WoW Classic in the beginning of this video, WoW Classic Hardcore specifically, it's going to be something to do with, you know, having one life. But not necessarily. I think you need something else to make an MMO fun in the modern world. It's not just making it hardcore, but it's close. It is the idea behind hardcore. You require stakes, because when you have stakes, you have something to lose, and it makes it, whenever you gain something, so much sweeter. Before you go out and start suggesting random things like going Iron Man mode or losing levels and items, I'm just going to veto on the spot. The stakes can be designed to exist specifically in the context of the game. It doesn't have to be as hardcore as forcing your character to delete after you disconnect underwater during a power outage and you can never get it back. Not saying that did happen to me, but it may have. Stakes makes what you do in the game mean something. And for a game, that's the most important thing when you want to make something that lasts. Anyway, those are my thoughts on what makes a good MMO. If you made it through the whole video, I applaud you. And if you liked what I had to say, go ahead and do the things every other mother flippin' YouTuber tells you to do. And give a like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit 10 subs by the end of July. We're really shooting for a big goal here. Thanks for listening. Bye.